So a couple days ago, I was sitting out in the hot tub early in the morning, 32 degrees outside, nice and warm in the tub, and just thinking. And I thought, boy, you know what I might do? I'm going to take the flameless candle like I put in my last art project. I'm going to cut some pondo pine bark because I love the texture on the front of it. And I'm going to cut some pondo pine bark, the size that I want for a candle. In this particular case, it's going to be 4 by 4 or 4.5 by 4.5. And then each one of these is going to be a side that will vertically come up this way. And then down in the middle, what I'll do is I'll put one of those flameless remote control candles so that when I turn it on, the candle will glow from the inside and it will reflect through this moss that is in between the cracks of the surface of what used to be the exposed surface of the pondo pine bark. And once you stain that down, it ends up looking like this right here. It turns out to be really nice. And will look similar to that, only it'll have a candle behind it that will glow through the moss and be a nice little smaller project. So it won't be quite as expensive, and yet it'll be very unique. And we'll see how it turns out. So we've probably all gone through a lot of different types of glues over the years that we've tried, whether it's wood glue or metal glue or glass glue. I found this one was pretty good, the JB Weld Clear Weld. It's a pretty killer weld. It's quick setting. It's a 2-part mix you can spray out onto the top of, like, say, a napkin or something and stir it up real good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 outer pieces off. I'm going to put a pretty good sized gob, enough that it will hold the aluminum, but not that it will go out onto my wood frame here. And the next thing I know, I can't get my aluminum off of my frame. So I'm going to put a little bit there. Take some of this off of here. Put a little bit there. You don't need a real lot with this stuff. It's pretty good stuff, but you want it to work. So put a little bit there. Put a little bit there. Then I come back into lining my frame up on my template. Put my pieces in where they're going to go. Get them relatively square, then squeeze them together. And then when you pinch them together, you want to make sure that it sits inside that 4.5 by 4.5 inch template that we made, so that it too will be square when we're done. Pull your hands away nice and clean, and then do the next one. Okay, well, I feel a little goofy doing this, but I'm going to try it anyways because it'll be kind of fun, and I've got this set up, so it'll be something that will be worthwhile, I guess. What I've done is I've taken some pondo pine bark. I cut it into strips with the outer edge, the nice looking outer edge. And I've cut them into a size that's a 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch. Then I went and I got some angle iron. And in one of the other videos, you'll see that I cut 4 little pieces and I glued and made a framework. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this framework and I'm going to glue it onto the top of this piece here. And this is going to be the bottom, and I've left the angles up on this one so that I can lay a piece of wood down in here, because ultimately once I get these glued on and into place, it's going to sit like this, and then 2 more pieces will go on the top, and then 4 on each side, 2 on each of the other sides. And then I can drop a 3-inch candle down in it, and what will happen is you'll see this from the outside, and what'll be the green moss will be reflective through with the candle. I'm thinking it'll glow real nice through the opening of the pondo bark and through the moss and be kind of a cool thing. So anyways, that's what I'm working on right now. I'm going to make a batch of glue, and then I'll put it together and let you know what I'm doing next. Kind of fun. Okay, so as you can see, I've been able to put at least 2 sides of the 4 sides on. I got it all clamped all the way around and wiped off and cleaned up. And that's going to be 2 of the sides. I'm going to let this harden up because it's a killer epoxy glue, but it takes just a little while to set up. And I've gone back through and pulled my clamps off and on to make sure that I'm not gluing my clamps to the aluminum and to the wood. That's sometimes when there's a little bit of over glue. You got to be careful for that. Then I'll come back in and I'm going to put the moss on the inside. I think I'm probably going to put the moss on the inside after I've gotten all 4 in. I don't think it makes any sense to put them in yet. And what I also did was I went and I cut a couple of pieces of wood that are going to go down and be down on the bottom. And I don't know if you know it or not, but you can take regular, real nice wood. This happens to be cedar. But you can take wood and mix it with a combination of a steel Brillo pad and vinegar and let it set for quite some time. And what it does is it makes this little concoction like this. And if you dip any kind of wood in it, what will happen is the steel wool and the vinegar turn it into almost like a darker gray, almost like a barnwood. So I do that on a lot of the birdhouses and stuff. It'll turn the wood a lot browner looking and kind of a gray looking more than brown. So it's pretty cool, and that's what I did to that wood. And that's what I'll put down on the bottom inside the angle iron that I have with the legs up, so that when I drop the candle down in, it'll have something to sit on. So that's what these guys are going to be when I get them ready. They're right now starting to turn a little bit. And I don't know, I got to go get the glue off my hands and get my act together, but I thought I'd show you that. I don't know, I'm kind of digging this remote control camera thing. It's kind of fun. What I've done now is I've got at least the one side on. The other side isn't on yet, it's just kind of sitting there. But the first original ones have started to harden up. So now I'm coming around with the other ones, which are these two guys here. And putting them in place. And then ultimately I'll do these two as well. Then I can come back in, which would be the real fun part, I think, and start taking some of this moss and lacing it. I think I'm also going to, sometimes you can roll it a little bit, put it into like a little rope look, and then just come back in and either hot glue it or glue it into here. And what will happen is I get lots of it. There's a bunch of it that's all up through the woods and stuff, and I come in and collect it. And then we'll take it and cut it and stick it down in there to fit, so that when I stick the candle down in the middle, it'll turn out to be beautiful. And I made sure that my opening up here was wide enough to allow a 3-inch wide or diameter by 4-inch tall flameless remote control candle. So I can just stand back here and start it up and light it all up and all that stuff. So anyways, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I don't think I'm going to put a top on it. I haven't decided about any kind of a top. I don't know if I necessarily want to leave the aluminum showing. I might take a wire brush and burnish it and do little thumb twists on it. Maybe that might give it some texture. I'm not sure about that. Right now I'm still focusing on this here. But anyway, that's to see right there, coming along. Okay, so what I've been doing is taking my glue gun, shoving it down in there as far as I can to lay a really good layer of wax or glue all the way down, and let it kind of drip down the side because it won't reach all the way down. And then I'm also putting some across the bottom here and on the sides that I can get from the outside, and then laying that down, then getting your moss, not moss, lichen, kind of making it into a nice little pattern, getting some of the sticks and stuff out of it. I don't mind if it's going to be too big for right now, because I'm going to come back in and trim it all out anyways. But we bring it down through here, bring it out the bottom so it kind of covers that piece of angle iron down there that we had put in, so it looks like it's just moss down there. And then we pat it from the inside out up against the glue that we just stuck in there. We're going to put a little bit of glue up on the front side here. Bring that out like this, and then up like that. I'll tell you what, you get that glue on your fingers, it burns pretty good, so you got to be kind of careful with what you're doing. Then I'm going to thin it out a little bit from the front side, so that when the candle gets in there, it won't be too thick to where you won't be able to see the candle burning on the inside. And then there's what we're kind of looking at here. I can turn it like this, I guess. And then like that. And then like that. That's what it's going to look like. And then, sort of like trimming a beard, you come back in on the outside and you cut off all the lichen that is just too excessive and sticking out all over the place. It doesn't look good. So it's got a nice clean front on it. And Looks like you know what you're doing. Anyhow, that's getting pretty close. I looked at my candles coming tomorrow, so I'll be able to put that in. You'll notice I didn't put any of the beaver chews in here yet, but what I did do is I stained them that kind of brown color that I was telling you about that you can do with the steel wool. And then they're going to go in something similar to that, I think, tomorrow. I haven't decided officially to put that in. I might still put maybe some more lichen down in the corners, but I don't want to get too much lichen either. So we'll see what happens there, but that's kind of what I'm working on now is this. Adios. Okay, well, I got the candle. Put all the batteries in it. I stuck it down inside my new remote control flameless lamp. And let's see, I'm going to get the controller that came with it. And what I'm going to do is put that in that hand, turn this off here, and let's see what happens. All right, there it is. I like it. Doesn't give you a real good view of it in the darkness like that, but it's glowing the way that I wanted it to. Looks beautiful from a distance here. The green's kind of nice. I could add maybe a little bit more moss on the sides or lichen. I'm not real sure, but I think I'm going to leave it like it is. I just kind of like it. And yeah, it's beautiful. You can see the candle in the middle of it too, and it kind of flickers and glows. And the remote control allows me to dim it up higher and lower if I want to. So yeah, I think I'm going to dig it. And there we have it, the end of a project.